Attention A1 Trading Show fans. If you're looking to get funded, we've got a solution for you. Our partnered prop firm FX2 Funding helps traders get access to up to $200,000 in trading capital. FX2 Funding is not your average prop firm. We've chosen them as our partner because of their fair examination rules, their professional and available customer service, and they have an outstanding reputation in the prop firm space. Here's a quick look at their evaluation process. First, they don't have a time limit on their evaluations. That means that you can take your time when passing your evaluation. There's no pressure to rush your trading. Second, there is only one phase to pass in their evaluation before getting access to your funded account. Also, their evaluation fees are fairly priced and fully refundable upon passing. Once you're funded, you'll be able to keep up to 85% of your trading profits. Finally, a rule we know swing traders will love: you can hold your positions over the weekend. For a limited time, get 15% off any of their account challenges with promo code A1Trading15. That's 15% off any account challenge with code A1Trading15. If you're ready to get funded, we're dropping a link in the chat right now, and you can also find it in the description down below. So go ahead and get signed up today for 15% off with promo code A1Trading15. Now, back to the show.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another live stream here. You caught me here. You walked in right as I was updating a trade alert here, guys. If you've been watching the streams, you know that I have been short gold, and I am currently trailing my stop here. Trailing my stop just ahead of the unemployment claims this morning. Stop is being placed conservatively behind the downward trend line as shown in the image attached. Okay. Sorry for the impromptu trade alert update idea. I just shared this with members. I'm trailing my stop here. We do have unemployment claims coming out in just about 10 minutes, which is, of course, why we are joined here together. No sound. Can you guys not hear me? Somebody said the fabled no sound. Can you guys hear me? Just making sure. Hold on. Audio. Okay, yeah, you guys should be able to hear me. Sound should be working fine. Anyways, yes, currently trailing my stop on gold just ahead here of the news. Speaking of news, let's go ahead and pull that up so we know what we are looking at. We're currently coming into the unemployment claims as well as the Philly Fed manufacturing index. Both of these potentially market moving here this morning. So I'm going to go ahead and just manage my stop. If you guys have been watching the streams, like I've said just moments ago, I've been very fixated recently on trading gold. I have a short trade, which is an unusual thing for me. I don't usually short gold. I will occasionally, but it's not like my favorite thing to short because gold is one of those things. Over a stretch of time, I do believe it will go up. And so I'm a little bit hesitant usually to short gold, but the setups have just been here this week, guys. We sold gold here and I sold gold here. Both of these were documented in our trade alerts group, as I mentioned. So again, sold gold yesterday, but I sold gold the day before as well. Up in the 1910s, sold 1910s. You can see there was the first trade, and then now caught a second trade as we retested around the 1905. So running pretty hot so far on gold. We'll see if we can continue that. Everybody letting us know the sound is okay. Thank you guys for that. Yep. Whenever somebody says like, oh, there's no sound, there's a little bit of a panic. Like, oh my gosh, did the microphone break or something like that? All right, guys. Yes, so we are just about 7 minutes to go here before unemployment claims. I'm still short gold. What else are we looking at? Let's take a look at the dollar index here. Dollar index coming down a little bit here from the highs, and an interesting spot to look at. You know, with gold here, with the dollar here, we can see that when we look left, there has been a lot of hesitation at this area around the 103.5 mark, and it seems for now so far to be seeing some rejection. If this dollar weakness continues, that is probably going to push gold higher. right? If the dollar weakens, usually gold appreciates. If the dollar strengthens, gold oftentimes goes down, which of course I've been short on gold. So this dollar strength recently has been very good for my position. But again, we are coming into market moving news, which could, kind of cause this new move to persist, or we could get some sort of breakout here, which of course would be the ideal scenario. But here's the thing. What you're not going to hear from me if you watch my streams, if you're a regular viewer, you're not going to hear me say, oh, unemployment claims this morning should move the dollar like this, right? I don't know what unemployment claims numbers are going to be. And that is why there is a spike. If you think about it, if everybody knew, if anybody really knew what those numbers were going to be, the markets would already be trading in that direction, spiking in that direction before the news comes out, right? We're waiting to see. Now, are there people who know what news is going to be before? Certainly. There's insider trading, there's cheating that goes on in the markets, but that's not really relevant to you and I as, traders on the ground floor. We're not, up in mile high buildings trading bajillions of dollars, right? We're everyday people. And so how can you trade the markets assuming you know what's going to happen when, again, you're on the ground floor? Point is, you can still trade the markets, but you just can't predict so heavily because you're not going to know sooner than the big guys know, right? So what you can do, however, is you can find trends. You can spot trends and you take advantage of them when they are happening. So again, this dollar weakness coming in will be interesting to see if it persists. It's at a major level of resistance. However, major level of resistance, I say kind of with some hesitation because the dollar has been really strong. We've been forming higher lows. We've broken out already of some key levels of resistance previously. And the question is this just going to be the next one? Now, am I saying buy the highs? No, I'm not. I'm saying, the entries, the pullback buys were the place to be, obviously in hindsight, but buying up at the resistance level is going to be tough to justify, in my opinion. So dollar index, again, showing some weakness here. We'll see if that persists with unemployment claims coming out in about 5 minutes. Again, market likely to move off of those numbers. Let's take a look at the pound USD. And also, if you guys don't mind, let me know what you guys would like me to look at. I'd be happy to take a look at some more charts for you. So pound USD, I've mentioned this recently. It's very range bound. So this one's not really at a point where I can justify any hard trades. If you're a pound dollar bull, what I'd say is watch for breakouts here. If we get some dollar weakness, that could perhaps set you up for something bigger, but we're not quite there. So pound USD, I'm not going to force anything. It's not really a pair that I trade all that often, to be completely honest. I much prefer the euro. And I also, wow, look at this. Indices coming in bearish today. This is a relatively new signal on the S&P 500. We're getting a bearish reading. We're also getting a bearish reading on gold, which matches nicely with my position that I've got. Euro USD, very bearish. Let's go look at the euro. Is the euro setting something up? Let's go take a look. EURUSD. Actually, I could just go to my watch list. I've been trying to do this. I don't know if I'm trying to actually use my watch list. It's such a bad habit. I build a watch list on TradingView and then I don't actually use it to navigate. And it makes me mad that I don't do it. So I'm getting mad at myself. And I'm getting mad at you guys for not telling me to do it. I'm just kidding. Euro dollar, bearish overall. Probably a little bit more room to the upside here for me. So euro dollar, I do like on the sell side. We're coming into a level of resistance that could be interesting, but not quite ready for anything there. USD CAD. Indices are trading up a little bit here this morning. Gold also, again, is finding a bounce. I would like that to not be the case, but we'll see what happens. We're floating a good profit on gold, and my stop loss is trailed, so I can't lose money on that. Is it possible for EU and GU to go in different directions? It is possible, actually, because the euro and the pound are independent economies, right? If you watch my streams, you'll know that I talk heavily about fundamentals because they're very, very important to what moves the currency market. I want you to guys, we have a couple minutes, so let me not get too far astray, but let me ask you guys something to think about. Okay, Every retail trader looks at technical trading. Every fundamental trader, or like I've had several people on the podcast who manage a lot of money. All of them consider fundamentals to some degree or another. So if all the retail traders focus solely on technicals, and all the hedge fund managers that I've spoken with are very fundamental based, there's something there. There's a good reason. I think, purely technicals is not necessarily useless by any means. There are great ways to trade technical analysis and use it to help you manage risk, to help you find entries and exits. But I think that using fundamentals can be very, very powerful. So that's why, that's what we aim to do on these streams and in my trading, obviously. All right, guys. So we have unemployment claims here coming out in a minute. So let me go ahead and set up my charts so that we can react together to any potential spikes. If you're a regular here, you know the drill. I'm going to be pulling up 15-minute charts. And this very well may stop me out, guys. We may trail out. I entered a short position on gold. It seems to be coming back. And I do have my stop loss trailed at this white line. So if we get tagged out here this morning, it is what it is. We'll watch gold here on the bottom left-hand side. I'm sorry, bottom right-hand side of the screen. We've got just over 30 seconds. I'm putting the euro in the top right, gold in the bottom right, NAS in the bottom left. And let's go ahead and put dollar yen, which I know a lot of people are watching right now, in the top left. Dollar yen having a tough morning. Let's see if unemployment claims have any significant move on the market. It is very possible. So please trade carefully. Don't gamble the news. It is a very quick way to lose a lot of money. So let's take a look and see what we've got coming in hot. Breaking news. All right, guys, and let's see what we get for unemployment claims. If we get any potential volatility here. All right, and claims should be coming out. We see a little bit of weakness coming in on the dollar yen. Oh, never mind. There it goes. Dollar yen just popped a little bit. Euro dollar came down initially. So claims must have just come in. I'm going to assume that a little bit, well, let's just go look at the number. It's possible that we get some volatility from either one of these events. So the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index came in, much better than expected in terms of U.S. economy stuff. Economic health, businesses react quickly. So we're seeing a really strong, wow, that's a significant difference. Dollar spiked initially. And there is the claims, came out pretty much as expected. So the spiker there was actually seemingly the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. The manufacturing index pointed to some strength in the economy, whereas the unemployment claims here basically came out as expected. So we see dollar yen making a bit of a push higher. We see NAS pretty much flat. Gold spiked down, but is now trading flat. For those of you who are just tuning in, there's now 435 of you guys. We're now going to take a look at some setups. I don't trade the actual spike. I trade the aftermath of news. And so we're going to now take a look at some setups. I want to start, of course, following up on my current trade that I am in. We are currently short gold in the VIP group, and I'll show you guys this trade here. So I shorted gold at resistance yesterday, and this was it was just a picture perfect entry. The question, however, will be here today, is this is this going to continue, right? So I'm bearish on gold. I shorted it. It was the perfect entry. You could not pick a better entry than that, right? Price came right back up, perfectly rejected that resistance, and just came right back down. I want to point out, though, that not all of my trades are that good. I wish they were. But now we're really at the phase where it is not so much about the entry anymore. It's about managing this trade. So I mentioned earlier, I have trailed my stop loss, so I can't lose on this trade. But ideally, if I'm going to make some money here on gold, I would like to see this level of resistance continue to show that bearish strength. And if this does kind of break down here today, my goal is to tighten that stop loss even further into profit and make sure I don't miss out on some potential more volatility. So yeah, we're watching this gold chart pretty close. Chandler, I'm going to shoot you a message behind the scenes really quick. If you don't mind just helping me out with that. So yeah, gold's still looking strong here to the downside overall, but I do have a stop loss in place if necessary to kind of trail me out. So that's one thing. I found this interesting. The S&P 500, I got to use my watch list. The S&P 500 actually getting a slightly bearish reading on the EDGEFINDER right now. Which I agree with. This thing is in a downward trend. Am I actually going to short the S&P 500? No. If I'm going to short the S&P 500 off the EDGEFINDER readings, what I'm going to wait for personally is I'm going to wait for a very strong sell reading, right? We're only getting a -3, which takes into account several factors. One thing that is pretty bearish about the indices right now, the overall COT data still looks pretty dang bearish, right? Look at the S&P 500. We can actually see that we have a 61.81% short ratio. So what we're looking at, this is institutional money, whether they are buying or selling particular markets, assets, so on and so forth. The S&P 500, in terms of the commitment of traders data, shows a huge bias to the sell side. So I find that really, really intriguing to kind of see that going on. NASDAQ, kind of same thing. It's a little bit more 50-50. The Dow actually looks the healthiest right now with like a 53% long. But for indices, you guys know I love trading them. I prefer to trade them on the long side usually. And they're just not showing long side potential right now. So we will have to watch those close. Whoops. Again, here is gold short update. Still short as long as we don't break this downward trend line. If we do break the downward trend line, that's going to be my trigger to trail out. I could have, to be honest with you, I could have probably been tighter with my stop loss here. I probably could have put my stop here in hindsight, but hindsight doesn't do you all that good in trading. However, I'm fine with this. This is a little bit of a looser stop loss, but as long as we hold this area, I don't mind holding it. But if we break out, I'm just going to take profits, which would be fine. We make money. So obviously not as much money as had we shoulda, coulda, woulda closed it at the very bottom. But again, you can't trade that way. If you trade with those sorts of thoughts, you will never be profitable. It is too, you'll be changing your strategy every week. If you constantly like, oh, well, when it gets this far, I'm going to close it. Well, the next time it's going to go that far, you're going to close it, and then it's going to do this, right? So you got to be careful thinking like, oh, well, you should have just done this, because it's never that easy, right? Trading is very difficult for a reason. What do you think of the guy that shorted the Qs with loads of money? Michael Burry? Yeah, he's a market legend. He's is that an indicator? I don't think anybody is fully 100% knows what's going to happen with the markets, right? It's one of those things. Guys, I just want to say too, also, if you would like to try out the EDGEFINDER that I mentioned here, if you want to look at the COT data stuff, we are doing some, some tours, some trials. If you would like to check out the software for yourself, we're going to drop a link. This is a form link that if you fill this form out, you'll get a chance to check out this tool. We have a free course that we hand out. You can also set up a call if that's something you're interested in. You can try the software out, so on and so forth. All you got to do is click this link right here to try out our software. It is free to do. We won't charge you any money to check it out, to get some information about it. If you would like some information, again, just click that form, fill it out, and we will send something to your email right away. Also, we're gonna be now joined in just a moment by Miko and Marco, who come on every Thursday to do some technical analysis with me. So I'm really excited about that. So we're gonna do that in just a moment. Kind of post reaction here. It does look like I'm about to get trailed out on my gold trade, which is fine. We'll close out of profit on there, and that will be 3 profitable trades this week, which maybe not glorious, massive wins, but I didn't take any losses this week, and hey, that's something to celebrate by itself. Again, we'll be joined by Miko and Marco in just a second, but right before that, we're going to thank our sponsors for making this show possible. So check out a word from our sponsor, and we will be right back with Miko and Marco.
Attention A1 Trading Show fans, if you're interested in getting free access to the EDGEFINDER or our premium trade alerts, listen up. For a limited time, our show's partnered broker 8cap is giving out free access to our products when you sign up for a new trading account with them. If you already have a broker, you may want to consider switching to 8cap because of their low trading costs, a wide range of trading assets, and their amazing customer support. If you'd like to get access to our software and Discord server for free, click the link being dropped in the chat right now and ask one of our team members for more information. Don't miss your chance for free products and an award-winning broker. Now back to the A1 Trading Show.
All right, we are back now with Miko and Marco for technical analysis, taking a look at market setups with these two who come on every week. Miko, Marco, how's it going? Welcome back to the show.
Hello.
What is up? What is up?
It's good to have you guys back. And I guess we've been doing this a while together. We mostly focus during this session together on technical analysis, just because that is primarily what you guys use in your trading. I'd love to kind of just take turns here. Maybe we'll just go to Marco first. Marco, we had unemployment claims this morning. Markets are kind of moving a little bit. Do you have any trades open? And do you have anything that you're really watching here today?
Yeah, so I don't have any trades open just yet, but I am watching the dollar pairs, to be honest. So it all depends on how this candle closes. If it prints like a huge wick, then I'm not gonna be that happy taking any trades. But if it closes with a nice clean close, so with a little wick, I'll be interested to buy EU. So AU, I would also be looking to buy as well. I do really like this pattern below. That's showing me a bit of a V reversal. And from my data, I know the V reversals usually can push the markets to the upside. So if I get a nice clean close here, I will look for a buy setup. And then the final one will be the pound for me. But to be honest, the pound just does not look good as of yet. So it has just broken this high and is currently retracing. So I'm going to be very careful with the pound, especially with it being heavily range bound in the past few, I would say even weeks, not days. For the Japanese pairs, kind of corrective, range bound. So I'm just being much more patient with the Japanese pairs. Only potential that I'm currently seeing is on EU and AU, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and again, those movements on the dollar right now are very interesting. It'll be interesting actually to see how they close. We've got about 20 minutes left in this hourly candle, and I know Marco that you pay close attention to those hourly bars. So it'll be very interesting to see while this candle plays out what ends up happening on a lot of these dollar crosses. Miko, what about you? You got any trades on or things that you're looking to execute on today?
Yeah, no trades for me so far this week. Trying to stay patient, but nothing's really materialized. A few pairs that I'm looking at that do look good. I'm keeping my eye on pound CAD. I like some longs for this one, but I'm not too sure if I'll get a pullback now. I was keeping my eye on this particular level here at 1.713. I'm looking to see if we can make our way back to the highs here on the left, just above 1.73. So I'm looking at bias for pound CAD. I'm liking the high lows we're seeing now. So I'm looking to see if we can get a retest of some sort and then the continuation. So I'm keeping my eyes on pound CAD. I'm not sure if we'll see a pullback. I'm also looking a lot at the yen pairs. So dollar yen, I'm waiting for some retracement for this one. I've got a nice area of confluence slightly further down around the 140 mark, I believe. No, 144. So around here, I'm looking at a pullback into, see if I can catch the next higher low. Swiss yen also looks good. Another similar setup. Again, probably not going to take all of these yen possible opportunities, but whichever looks good, risk reward looks good, entries look good as well. And I'm also keeping an eye on euro yen as well, looking for the retest of 157-ish on this particular area. So I'm looking to see if I can follow that trend with the yen pairs. Everything still looks pretty strong on the higher time frames, but I just need some good quality pullbacks for them. So those are at the top of the watch list at the moment.
Sure. So a couple yen crosses, a couple dollar crosses in there. What do you think about gold right now, Miko?
Gold, yeah, I've been quite bearish on gold. I've been personally looking to short it, but just haven't seen enough retracement for me. I saw you in a gold position there, so congrats on that. But I've been looking for a bigger pullback. There has been some nice kind of cute pullbacks on the lower time frames with hourly 30 minutes. So some nice short opportunities there in the lower time frames. But for me, I like my pullbacks on the 4H. I've been looking for a pullback all week, but it's kind of just been slowly dropping to the downside. So I haven't really had an opportunity for that. But gold looks like it's just taking out some lows here. So pretty significant prices at the moment. It might mean some retracement to the upside for gold. But in the grand scheme of things, I do think there's more downside. So I'm looking at personally, if we have that bigger retracement, a lower high somewhere, and I do think we can go and attack the lows again. So personally, I'm looking at 1850, 1860 potentially around here. So that's kind of where I can see gold going to based on the structure we've seen in the lower highs as well. But I'm waiting for a bit more retracement, and then I see what I can do maybe next week.
Yeah, and a couple of things to kind of follow you up on that with gold, Miko. You know, the quick high level fundamentals behind this move to the downside is, you know, there's been a lot of slowdown in China, which of course China is a major user of commodities, you know, for everything, right? Silver, gold, of course, the oil markets pay attention to what China is looking like. If they're slowing down, the demand for raw materials is also going to slow down. And so we've kind of had just a slew of tough market data out of China, which has been put pressure on you know, the metals market especially. But then also from a technical perspective, Miko, you've got this 1900 level. And, you know, you pointed out that previously this level had held very well. 1900 has been a stubborn area for the bulls, right? They've pushed off this level several times before. They even pushed back on it very recently. And now we are kind of trading it and flirting with the idea of closing underneath it, but it's a little bit too soon to say. You pointed out too, Miko, that the hourly chart has been a lot more suitable, I think, for trading these pullbacks. This is really tough to look at on the 4-hour chart, but I've just been in here kind of shorting it on the lower time frames. I took 2 different shorts this week. Both of them worked out, but to be completely honest, they weren't huge profits for me because we haven't gotten kind of the breakaway follow through move that I was looking for. So, you know, this entry looks crisp. It looks perfect, but if this trade just goes a little higher, I'm only going to close out like a 1-to-1. So, I mean, still nothing to complain about, but just the frustrating side of trading. Sometimes you don't get those follow through moves that you're looking for.
And how did you pick?
Yeah.
Sorry, how did you pick the take profit on this trade? So how did you pick the level?
So I should clarify, I'm not actually using a take profit. I'm just using it to track my risk to reward on TradingView. So as I kind of usually do, I'm just trailing a stop. So I put my stop just above market structure here. So my stop is here, but then I don't have a target order. Instead, I'm just trailing a stop. So I've actually moved my stop loss to where this white line is. And, you know, I'm kind of just looking to see if this thing wants to keep rolling over. I'll just kind of try and keep trailing that stop. So that's where I say, you know, this is kind of the frustrating side of trailing stops, is this week has been a profitable week for me. But, you know, if I was using more of a partials type of trading like Miko, this would have been more suitable to that style. But we've had weeks where, you know, trailing stops are king, and then we've had weeks where partials are king. And that's why, you know, it's always good to keep up with you guys just to see where you're at. Marco, what about you? So we know super urgent setups here. This hourly candle we just talked about watching. Do you have any thoughts on gold? And I guess anything else that caught your eye today in markets? Is there anything else that you're watching other than what you shared with us?
So let me see for gold. Okay, so for gold, it's kind of corrective. Again, for me, not really works with my strategy. I'm seeing it kind of moving in this descending channel. But yeah, some pairs can move like this for ages, and that's kind of how they trend very correctively. But for me personally, yeah, I'm not seeing any big momentum legs anywhere here. These major lows are being broken with only wicks. So maybe, okay, this was a momentum leg, but then the rest of them, okay, this one as well. But the spaces between the momentum legs just ranges. So that's sort of price action I do not want to see as a trend trader. What I would like to see is something like this move. This one as well. this one, this leg. So that's what I want to see. And currently I'm just not seeing that sort of a move. For the other pairs, to be honest, for me, I'm looking only at my 6 pairs, but I'm very, very interested about this current candle because I saw most of my trades come after a news candle. So either a couple of hours after or the same week, or again, it's very close after a news candle that I get a nice winning trade. And it all depends on how the news candle forms and what happens after it. So I noticed if we get a news candle, which I can identify by it being very large or having huge wicks, and if the trend continues almost immediately, I tend to get a nice winner somewhere in this move. But if there is a news candle and then we range for a long time, any sort of a push that happens usually fails and retraces back into the range. So for me, it's now a waiting game, waiting for the hourly close and then waiting for the next few candles to either continue or range around. And I also had a question. So you're using a trailing stop loss. So once you identify a level where you want to put your trailing stop loss, do you, let's say, move it a couple of pips above or below just to give it a bit of breathing space for the bigger players, because they do like to take out some levels by just a few pips and then continue in the general direction? So what's your approach with trailing stop losses?
Yeah. So I'll show you just a quick visual example on my screen here. So
Sure.
the idea for a short trade for me, you guys know I use a mix of fundamentals and technicals. So I'm looking for, first and foremost, directional bias for me comes from the fundamentals. I mentioned that the Chinese, data has really pushed the markets lower for gold. That's been kind of my first catalyst. Then from the technical side, I look for very, very straightforward break and retests. Usually, all three of us, we tend to look for those big momentum pushes. So gold kind of served that push here recently. I sold it earlier this week, and then I sold it again after this big push retest on the lower time frames, and I went short. So that's kind of my entry. Very, very straightforward. What I'm looking for technically, usually what I'm looking for is to trail a stop after we put in sort of a confirmed lower high. But it's kind of loose. Like technicals for me are loose rules to follow, in the sense that, okay, so let's say I initially put my stop loss here, and the market makes a move here, and then it starts to put in this new lower high, and we start making moves move back. I won't always 100% of the time wait for a break through the lows, but usually that is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a break through the lows to kind of lock in this, and then I just rinse and repeat. Every time we get that new break of the lows, I'll do that. In this case today, I've been kind of watching this trend line, which Miko and I both addressed, this perfect little 1 hour kind of downtrend that has been going on. Just consistent lower highs are just so clean that if that structure breaks, I've actually used, in this case, instead of lower high concept, I'm just using the trend line as kind of my protective stop. If that breaks, then I think that the concept has a potential of no longer being in that momentum. So I'll probably pause. I want to ask you a question back, Marco. So we mentioned you were looking at the euro dollar here, and this candle here. You mentioned that some of your best trades they typically follow a major news announcement. Actually, for me as well, some of my favorite trades are aftermath news event setups. If this candle closes like this, like let's say that the candle looks exactly like this at the end of the 1 hour close, right? This is, of course, for viewers who are new, I'm looking at a 1 hour chart. This candle reflects 1 hour of price action. If this closes like this, do you still look for a bullish setup following that? Or do you look for a bearish setup? How do you kind of treat a news candle that has a big wick on it?
So it's more of a sign of a larger range if it has a huge wick on one side. So currently, if this candle closes like this, I would expect a larger range to happen. Most cases, this is what happens after this sort of a candle, but it's not a rule where it cannot continue trending. So if the next candle prints like this, which I have seen it price action do, and if it continues with the trend, I will look for a buy setup. So it's not just about how it closes. It's also what the next 2 to 3 hours of price action do. for me personally. So it's even more important what the next few candles do than what the news candle does. But I do like a nice big news candle with a nice clean close. For example, let's say this was some sort of a news. This big candle, I do like to see it being as big as this. So it shows me some nice strength, some nice momentum, and big buyers stepping in.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And Miko, I want to ask you the same question. Aftermath of news, do you take a lot of setups? And if so, you know, I don't think any of us trade the spike of the actual news, but it does seem like those news spikes, those volatility spikes can actually create setups. How do you treat it, Miko? Do you like this afternoon? Would this be kind of a time to look for opportunities for you following these moves that we're seeing?
I would have to agree that news does cause a lot of movement, so it gets the ball rolling a little bit. But with my trades, I try to just focus purely on the price action. But I have, like, when I back test, I can sometimes tell when a candle has just happened after news, because obviously maybe a big wick or something. And typically, when I do get entry candles after the news, it's either it's going to just fail or it's going to really get going in my favor. So I do like using the news to my advantage. Normally, how I go about it is if I can find a trade, I find a trade. But I like to hold trades through news. So if I can get into the trades a day before, maybe a few hours before, that's good, and potentially news can get the ball rolling. But in terms of, like, for example, with news now, I don't necessarily look to see if there's a trade. I know what pairs I'm looking at. I know where I want price to come into. So it's not like I'm trying to look for something now, but if news happens, it maybe wicks price into my area of confluence, again, entry off the back of that, then I'm like, okay, maybe the news can really get going. Last week, I got into some shorts with pound USD, and kind of the same principle we're talking about right now. It was some shorts on pound USD off the back of CPI. We had this big wick to the upside, taking out some of these highs. So I did hop into a trade after that. It got to these lows and eventually got taken out break even. But I was hoping that that news after CPI was going to give us a lot more downside. Obviously, in this case, it didn't. But that kind of CPI taking price to the upside, maybe taking out some traders earlier on, did kind of play in my mind, and did kind of give me the idea that, okay, maybe you can see a lot more momentum. But the key thing is always just making sure the setup fits my plan, and that's the most important thing.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, Miko and Mark, I want to thank both of you guys for coming on. But before we let you go, I do want to just say to the audience, it's a Thursday, and it's not an NFP day. It's not a CPI day. We have, a stream here with a good number of you guys. There's like 400 people watching, which is great. It's not, of course, the 1,000 viewers that we get on these big days. I just want to say on these days when we get a smaller crowd, but we're in here and we're actually learning stuff together. This is free game. This is free knowledge that we're putting on for you guys at home. I just want to say, first of all, we're glad that you're here, because what we're trying to do, Miko, Marco, myself, everyone here at the A1 trading team, we're trying to build a genuine community of traders. We're not here flashing, stuff. And we make this point often, but it's important. We're not here flashing lifestyle, flashing money, flashing how easy trading is. These guys and myself, we genuinely have a love for the sport kind of thing. We are here sharing our ideas, sharing our thoughts every day. We're bouncing ideas off of each other. We're asking each other's questions. I mean, this is the real stuff. If you really want to learn to trade, if you are trying to figure this stuff out, these are the types of people, these are the types of bits of content that really helped me in my day trying to come up and learn this stuff. So I want to just encourage you guys, if you have not already, please do us a favor. Here at A1 Trading, we bring on these guests, and a special thank you. We try and make sure to show them some support as well. If you guys would, please make sure to go follow Marco on YouTube. He has a channel of his own. Same thing with Miko. Both of these guys put out great value to their viewers. They're active on social media as well. I know, Miko, you're big on Instagram as well. Like, you guys definitely go follow both of these guys. They do great stuff on their socials. And again, they're spreading the good word about real trading, not the fake nonsense that we all know what we're talking about. So, Miko, Marco, thank you guys both for coming on the show, and we will see you back next week.
No problem.
Thank you.
See you next week. Thank you.
All right. See you guys. Yep. Always good to have both of those guys on. Again, I genuinely mean that. It is really, really cool to have guys like Miko and Marco come on the show. and you can just tell, you know, if you're somebody who is newer to trading, you know, it's been a long time since I was newer to trading, but I do remember wandering into people's content who seemed genuine and being like, oh my gosh, this is where I needed to be. Not all the stuff that pops up at the top of YouTube, you know, the lifestyle vlogs and, you know, Lamborghinis and, you know, big stuff like that. This is the stuff. This is the stuff that really will help you if you are genuinely interested in trading someday, for a living, for a partial income, or just trying to get profitable. This is the stuff, I'm telling you. So again, shout out, of course, to Miko and Marco. Make sure to go check them out. Guys, I'm still trailing the stop on gold, and we are surviving somehow so far. And again, I say that lightly because very well could this gold move make another push higher. And if that happens, I will stop out for my profit on this trade. Again, ended up shorting here. In hindsight, shoulda, coulda, woulda, closed it right around here. But hindsight doesn't do you any good in trading. I'll be pulling up in a Lambo after this trading competition, says Chandler. That's amazing. That is amazing. The day I see Chandler driving a Lamborghini, I could die a happy person. Chandler's our editor. If you don't know Chandler, him and James do an amazing job putting on these shows. Kidding, of course, maybe. Yeah, guys, gold again, still keeping on. We're not out of it yet. Again, if we trail higher, if we make a move through this kind of downward sloping trend line, as I mentioned to Miko and Marco, that's going to be my cue to go ahead and get out. Why didn't you close it? I trail stops. I don't take profits. You know, I don't use target orders in my trading, which again has its pros and cons. There are times where I really wish I had put a take profit on my trade. You know, in hindsight, I really wish I had closed it right there. But in actuality, sometimes I get moves that happen like this. And these are the moves that matter the most. And, you know, what oftentimes most traders will do, and there's nothing wrong with doing this. Let's say you sold this market, right? You put a sell and you put a stop here and you put a target here, right? This is what most traders will do. And there's nothing wrong with this type of trading, stops, partials, that sort of thing. But for me, what I am ultimately trading for is the very rare occasion where I say, no, I'm not going to use a take profit. I'm going to take this stop loss and I'm going to trail it behind every higher low that we form until the market does ultimately close me out for a profit. And what this does is that it makes, occasionally, it gives me a winner that just absolutely changes my trading performance. You know, what's crazy is that when I look at year over year, my trading performance, usually it's like a handful of trades that make up the massive majority of the profits that I take. So I might take a small winner here on gold, and that's okay. We made profit. Cool. We take small losses, we take small winners, and every once in a while, we take massive winners. That's how I like to trade. If you would like to learn more about how I trade, if you would like to get the trade alerts that I'm sharing, if you want to see the trades that I'm actually taking, I got something cool to share with you guys. This is the Discord channel. And I would like to let you guys know that we are currently doing 25% off of our Discord VIP. Yes, it is a paid service. And yes, I believe that it has more than the value that we price tag it at. My company here, A1 Trading, I have a staff of people here. There's about 8 of us in office in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm in one room. We have several rooms here. We build software tools for traders, and we also offer a live room for traders who want to learn the strategies that Frank and I, who are kind of the 2 traders within the group, and we also have Ivan, who does our coaching webinars. If you guys would like to learn from us, if you'd like to see the trades that I'm taking and get trade alerts when I enter a trade, right? So I told you guys I'm short gold this week. I also shorted the euro. I shorted gold twice, made profits twice. Euro shorted this on Monday, and it's been a really, really good week. If you guys would like to join and get all of the trade alerts, the key thing here is that you're going to get analysis behind every trade. So when I take a trade, you're going to get breakdowns, you're going to get explanations as to why the trade was taken, so on and so forth. Gold is coming for your stop. I'd be happy either ways. If it trails me out, cool. If it keeps going, cool. I'll trail stops further. Again, that is why I have a trailing stop. I am comfortable if this market moves higher, take me out for a profit, and then I'll look for another opportunity. Again, every trade I share goes right into this journal. If you guys would like direct notifications, these notifications can pop up on your phone. Here's the way to do it. Message us. Click this link. It's in the chat right now. When you message us, I'll show you something really cool. So when you click that link, again, if you're watching it with us live, if you're watching this back at a later point, I know some people watch these streams after they go up on YouTube. If you would like to get access to what I'm sharing, just check the description as well, or if you're watching with us live, in the chat. So click that link. It's going to take you here. If you guys, while we're on the live, there are people in the other room of the office who are trained on the support side to help people who would like to learn more about our memberships. If you message us, I would like a free tour of the EDGEFINDER or Discord VIP group. Someone from our team will give you a 100% free, no, like you don't have to pay us anything, to check out the VIP, see what it's all about, see what the signals look like, see some examples, check it out for yourself. If you'd like more information to see if this would actually be helpful to you in your trading journey, we want to make sure that it is a fit for you. If you want to join our live room, click that link. It's in the chat right now. It will take you to a direct message center where you can have a conversation with someone on my staff about the membership group that we offer. All right, guys, that is going to wrap up the stream here today. Thank you very much for tuning in. Again, if I take any new trades, members, you'll see it. I'm sharing everything in the Discord here today. I've got a couple things on the watch list, and we will go from there. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.
And that concludes today's show. Our goal at A1 Trading is to keep you up to date with the latest market coverage through our daily videos and articles. If you like our content, make sure to subscribe for more. You can get funded today up to $200K with FX2 funding. Use our code A1Trading15 for a special discount. From all of us at A1 Trading, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.